Hello and welcome back to Typical City. What is going on with Manchester City? I've got some facts and figures to prove that Manchester City are right on track. Right on track. There is nothing wrong with Manchester City because I've heard some sweeping, damning statements from plenty of content creators and just general fans talking about the season as a whole being dead. Manchester City aren't going to win anything. There's something wrong with Manchester City. It's not quite right with Manchester City. There's no creativity is one of the most common phrases I hear being used. Or City are wasting all their chances is another sentence that I keep hearing throughout so many sources. And really, it's not the case. And I've got the facts and figures to prove it. So let's start with goals. Right now you can see the top 6 expected XG. Bang on track. Top of that list with 14.1 XG, performing exactly as expected. Erling Haaland at the very top. Mo Salah performing as expected. Jackson underperforming slightly, and the list goes on. But as you can see from a City perspective, Haaland is achieving exactly what is expected of him right now. And the only reason City fans are doubting him is because last season he massively overperformed. He took the league by surprise, and right now it's not like he's underperforming, it's not like he's playing bad, he just set the bar so high last season, Erling Haaland, that his XG compared to the actual number of goals he got was through the roof. And this is more reasonable, but still, he's far and away above Mo Salah in terms of XG, and he's got the exact XG that he's scored the same number of goals as his XG is suggesting, so he's bang on track, but there's more to come. Now you want to talk about, well, he gets all those chances, doesn't he, at Manchester City? He gets all those chances, I hear you cry. I know, I can hear you. I can almost hear you coming out the camera. Top 6 goal scorer conversion rate, okay? So Isaac, unbelievable conversion rate there, you can see, with 25.9% of his shots end up in the back of the net, but he's only scored 7 as a total. Son sitting in second with 9, 22%. Erling Haaland is in the top 6 list once again, 18.9 with 14 goals to his name, again ahead of Mo Salah, who you never hear these sort of questions about Mo Salah, do you? You never hear a peep about Mo Salah's not finishing or he's missing chances, you never hear it. But he's below Erling Haaland once again. Now, another list that makes it interesting in terms of Manchester City as a whole. How important is Erling Haaland to Manchester City? And without Erling Haaland, would Manchester City be the same team? It's hard to say right now because he's always fit more often than not, so we tend to play him more often than not. But we know as City fans that we can play the false nine. We won the league without a striker. So we know full well that this team can play without Erling Haaland. But here are your top 6 teams' conversion rate in terms of the total number of shots the team are having. So we're talking about wasting chances, in other words, that the team is doing. Newcastle currently top of that list with 217 shots. 32 goals to their name, which is a 14.7% conversion rate. Manchester City with 269 shots and 36 goals. That's an incredible number of shots, the highest in the league, the number of shots that we've taken on goal, and we are the second best team in the league at putting it back of the net. Simple as that. So you can't talk to me about wasting chances on the whole, because once again, Manchester City, second and in the top 6 list. So performing exactly as to be expected. I do not see Liverpool in that list. I don't see Liverpool. I see Arsenal down there in 5th. So come on. Now you talk about Haaland's importance to the team again. This is the top 6 team to player goal ratio, as in other words, how many goals has the team scored and how many of those goals has one single player scored in the ratio against the total number of team goals. So Solanke's top of that list with 16 Bournemouth goals, and he himself has scored 7 goals with his importance to the team is 43.8%. Edouard of Crystal Palace have scored 14 goals. Edouard scored 6 of them. Erling Haaland in third, 36 goals Manchester City have scored. So that indicates, the fact that he's third in this list does indicate his importance to the team, how important he actually is. But the fact is that City have scored 36, putting him in that list compared to Wolves, who've scored 19. West Ham, who've scored 24. Palace, who've scored 14. Bournemouth, who've scored 16. Palace have scored the same number of goals as Erling Haaland himself. for a start. And second of all, City have scored 36. So 22 goals have come from other players. Okay, so 38.9% of our goals coming from Erling Haaland. That's good. Because we've scored 36. So the rest of the players, there's 22 goals from other players. These are all Premier League stats as well. This is not factoring in Champions League or any of the upcoming cup competitions, of course, and the Super Cup that we were in. All Premier League stats, but still, Premier League is where the story's at right now, because they're the games we're drawing. Chelsea 4-4, Liverpool 1-1, and Spurs 3-3. To me, there's nothing wrong in the goal department. Erling Haaland is absolutely doing his job. So it's, we're lacking creativity. We're not creating enough chances. That's what I hear other content creators saying with that sweeping statement without anything to actually back it up. And that's why you should drop a like and subscribe to Typical City, because I'm not being sweeping with all my statements. I'm backing it up with facts. And that's why you should like Typical City. Do drop a like, it really does help. And this information gets spread to stop the rot in the media that is just spreading this horrible narrative that City are failures right now. And City fans themselves are starting to believe it. I'm seeing it. It's City fans saying, that's it, the season's over because we've been drawing games and apparently playing badly. I'll tell you what's going wrong in a minute. I'll tell you exactly what's going wrong. But in terms of chance creation, nope, nothing wrong there. Top 6 Premier League chances created. Alvarez, he's second in that list behind Trippier with 41 chances created, 37 chances created by Alvarez. Saka is ahead of Saka. You know, the precious golden boy. That lad is untouchable in the media. You can't say a bad word about Saka. Saka is the greatest player ever to grace the Premier League, according to Arsenal fans and a lot of the media sources. Yet here's Alvarez sitting ahead of him in terms of chance creation, in a position and a player that is not playing in his usual position. He is not a number 10 player. He's standing in the stead instead of Kevin De Bruyne, sitting behind Erling Haaland right now. You know, he wants to be in Erling Haaland's position. He's a fox in the box. He's a number 9, Alvarez, and what a job he's doing in Kevin De Bruyne's absence, and wait for Kevin De Bruyne's absence to add to all of these figures that I'm giving you. And then I can give you another statistic as well. Now, that was just chances created, which is a little bit more broader in the term of what a chance creation is. But in terms of big chances, for example, the big chance that Erling Haaland missed against Spurs, where it was provided to him on a plate and he missed an open net, that's considered a big chance. Now, let's have a look at the top 6 big chances created. I don't see Alvarez anywhere. Oh, a different City player. So it's not all hinging on Alvarez's creativity. We've got Bernardo Silva, who I've heard plenty of creators saying that there is no way Bernardo Silva should be considered a creative player. I beg to differ. Because Mo Salah is top of that list in terms of big chances created. Trippier's second. Bernardo Silva is third in that list. So comparing the top 6 chances created and top 6 big chances created, we are the only club that has 2 different players in both those lists. So we've got 2 players creating proper chances for Manchester City. So chance creation, I don't see a problem. I do not see a problem. Top 6 expected assists. There he is again. Alvarez in the top 6 with Trippier topping it with 4.9 expected assists. Saka with 4.7 expected assists. He's got 5. At the bottom of that list, he's got 5 assists as well. Alvarez, he's got 5 assists as well. So he's outperforming his expected assist with 3.7 expected. 5 to his name. Mo Salah is doing the best there, and Trippier as well, of course, in terms of their expected versus actual. Is really good from Salah and Trippier, but Alvarez is there again, once again. So now you start looking at, well, what is the problem? What is the problem? And this is a massive problem with the statistical football stats and figures. Industry as a whole has a problem because there is not enough information to help understand defenders and the defence as a whole. Errors leading to shots, errors leading to goals. There's too much open to interpretation when it comes to defending. The attacking and creating side of the game, they've got that down to a T. But these stats and figures are not replicated in the same sense of quality and the in-depth nature that they have for the attacking side of the game compared to the defending side of the game. There's not enough information to explain the defensive side of the game. But there is a little bit of information if you want to talk about Ederson, for example. So let's look at goalkeeping, for example. Doesn't look good for Ederson. The bottom 6 This is the bottom six, not the top six, the bottom six save percentage. So he is second from bottom worst goalkeeper when it comes to save percentage of shots, with 59.5% to his name. He's only conceded the 15 goals, Ederson, and he's only just ahead of Jason Steele of Brighton, who's conceded 16. So in terms of shot stopping, not Ederson's strong point, but do you want to see something interesting? Do you want to see the overall goalkeeping rankings in the Premier League right now? Because Ederson is currently 5th as the overall goalkeeper. The full package. What is the complete package of a goalkeeper? High claims, punches, run-outs, defensive actions. All of that wrapped up into one package. Ederson finds himself 5th in the Premier League. And he should really be 3rd because Alisson is a starter for Liverpool. He's a number 1 goalkeeper for Liverpool. Areola's the number 1 goalkeeper for West Ham. Bentley is the second choice goalkeeper for Wolves. Dubravka's the second choice goalkeeper for Newcastle. So the fact that Bentley and Dubravka are both in this list doesn't exactly explain that, because the percentages are going to be very high for them because they've had such few appearances. So the numbers are going to look better. So in reality, out of that top 6 goalkeepers, Ederson's actually 3rd because he's the one who plays more than Bentley, Dubravka and Flecken of Brighton. He's 3rd, effectively. The 3rd best all-round goalkeeper in the Premier League right now is Ederson statistically. And what you get with Ederson right now is something I would never swap for any goalkeeper in the world, because what he offers the other way, distribution and bringing the ball forward from a Manchester City perspective, there's no keeper in the world. We saw what Alisson did against City. We saw what his distribution's like. He gave it away. He gave it to Phil Foden on a plate, and we should have punished him. And he was numerous times he was firing it down the middle and giving it away, yet Ederson at the other end of the pitch was firing it down the middle and firing right to the feet of a Manchester City player, pinging it to those touchlines towards the dugout where Pep and Klopp were standing, or to the other opposite side of the pitch, and landing straight to Jeremy Doku or Phil Foden. It was an immense display of distribution quality compared to a very opposite display of distribution from Alisson. So for me, for what City need as a goalkeeper, there is no better goalkeeper in the world for Manchester City than Ederson right now. So, well, what is the problem then? What is the problem with Manchester City? We're talking about individual errors. We're talking about little one-off moments. Its stats and tactics and figures are absolutely nothing wrong. The actual fluidity of Manchester City as a whole, the team as a whole, it's working. We are creating chances. I've proven that. We're taking our chances. I've proven that. We've just got to cut out these silly errors. We're talking about the Gvardiol mistake at Chelsea, for example. And Chelsea had the game of their lives. Let's get it right. Let's get it right. Chelsea had the game of their lives against us, and they scored 4 against us, and they still couldn't beat us. Okay, that was them playing out of their skins, and we all know what Chelsea are really like. They went to St James's Park the following week and got battered 4-1. So that's exactly what we were up against. We were up against a team that was playing at 110% because it was all about winning the "we drew against Man City" trophy. That's what everyone's celebrating right now, and City fans are getting hurt by it. We don't feel bad. Why are you worrying? We're 3rd in the table, 3 points off top. There is absolutely nothing to worry about. We're talking about little details like individual errors that over the course of the season, form and quality, like the figures I've provided you, they will tell the full story, and they will rise to the top and prove that Manchester City statistically and on the pitch, passing the eye test, are more than good enough to go and win this Premier League. And to doubt them is a catastrophic error on your part if you are doubting Manchester City, because these errors, the Ruben Diaz giving away a penalty against Chelsea as well, that was sloppy. That Gvardiol mistake where Chelsea crossed the ball to Raheem Sterling to make it a tap-in. These errors are just a bit of an anomaly. They're one-off mistakes. We have to cut those mistakes out. We don't want to talk about luck. We heard Pep Guardiola talk about luck in his post-match interview against Spurs, and he's exactly right that you don't want to give the players who are making the mistakes the excuse of blaming it on bad luck. Oh, it was just unfortunate. What Pep's doing there is the psychological kick up the arse for players like Diaz and Gvardiol and Walker and Ake. Ake's mistake, both people have come to me and said Walker should have blocked the cross. They're right. I think Walker could have done a much better job at blocking that cross for Kulusevski's equaliser in the 89th minute or whenever it was. Nathan Ake, though, was caught flat-footed. He's got to attack that ball. He's got to attack that ball and clear it and don't allow Kulusevski to get in front of him. He's got to attack it. Mistakes from those two players have cost us, and these little details, if you start saying, oh, it's just bad luck, Kyle Walker and Nathan Ake will go, yeah, you're right, it was bad luck. I don't need to fix my mistakes that I've been making. I don't need to eradicate those games because I can just relax and blame it on bad luck. So there is bad luck in this. That's when you start looking at refereeing decisions, and there's not much you can do about that. We have to accept that Simon Hooper had an absolute clanger against Spurs. And I can't remember who the referee was against Liverpool, but the fact that Alisson was given a free kick for the most limp-wristed hand on his shoulder ever. When he came up, he claimed the ball, he caught the ball with two hands against Manchester City, grabs it, holds it for a second, and then drops it. Ruben Diaz puts it in, and that would have been Manchester City 2, Liverpool 0, more or less game over at that point because we were dominating them. And they were gifted an opportunity to not be 2-0 down and to get back in the game as a result of that. City had nothing to do with that. That's just unfortunate because we were by far the better side against Liverpool in that first half. We were by far the better side against Spurs in particular in that first half. Should have been 4-1, but people aren't talking about that. We hear about the media right now talking about Simon Hooper's mistakes. For one, the Akanji penalty at the end. Oliver Skipp put his hand on Akanji's shoulder. That's exactly the same situation of one player putting their hand on another player's shoulder. One was given a free kick to Alisson, the goalkeeper. Okay, if that's a free kick, then what the hell was Oliver Skipp doing on Akanji, bringing him down with a hand on the shoulder, which was far more of an aggressive action. Way more aggressive. Didn't result in a penalty, though. Should have been. And then you've got the advantage for Grealish as well, and everybody's going on about that. But what's baffling is how the media are talking about it as a brain fart and giving Simon Hooper the excuse and saying I've heard people say it's a breath of fresh air, that it's not a VAR mistake and it's just a plain old simple refereeing mistake. Oh, well, never mind. If that was United, if that was Arsenal or Liverpool, the media would be typing away going, it's a disgrace, PGMOL, get them banned, we need to fix this, Howard Webb in the bin. That's all we'd hear. But when it's City on the receiving end of bad refereeing decisions, it's like, oh, well, they're the top team. They're the best team. They're the team that win everything normally. So let's just call it levelling the playing field, shall we? Fuck off. Absolute fucking bollocks. That is nothing we can do about that, City fans. So to turn your back on the team now, you flaky fans, honestly, if some of you City fans that I've heard turn your back on the City team saying the season's dead, we're not going to win anything, you're a joke. I know I'm talking to the 1% of you, and I know 99% of you are not like that you are loyal, you were down in the dirt with me, down in League One. To write this team off at third in the Premier League is an absolute joke. And I've proven statistically why Manchester City might not be firing on all cylinders, but we are well within a shot of winning this Premier League title, because right now, creatively, goal-scoring wise, we are in the top teams. Throughout all the statistics I've provided, we are there. We're there, competing, more than competing. We are the best in all departments, effectively. So we need to have a bit of a reality check, Blues. We really do. We need to rein it in a little bit, stop being so reactionary with some of the statements that we're making, and recognise that our rivals want us to feel like this. They want us to feel like this, but this information will harm them. What I've provided will harm them because it will remind them that there is a long way to go. There is a long, long way to go, and it'll remind them that we've done this before. We've been here before, and this is a familiar pattern of Manchester City providing stats like this and almost inevitably go on to do good things that season. If they continue to play like this, we'll win something. We'll win something. We just have to eradicate those simple mistakes. That's what it's coming down to. Individual errors, not tactics, not poor creativity, not poor conversion rate or anything like that. Nothing like that. It is just individual errors. But Blues, what do you think? What do you think is the genuine reason? Do you think I've just completely talking nonsense with all those stats I've just given you, or do you actually now might have changed your mind? Because you're allowed to. You're allowed to change your mind, so feel free to change your mind. I hope I've convinced you into feeling that Manchester City are well within their rights to think about winning the Premier League title this season, well within our rights. So for us to say that they're not, it's embarrassing. It embarrasses me as a City fan that there are some of us that are already writing the season off. It really does. But Blues, get your comments in below. I really want to hear them. Like and subscribe. Typical City is the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now.